CBS 6 News starts now with breaking news.
A man found dead in a Saratoga County driveway.
Breaking this morning, we're bringing you the latest on the investigation underway right now in Mechanicville.
A 19-year-old facing serious prison time at his sentencing today.
The crime he's been convicted of and how he ended up in police custody.
All right, a gray and gloomy start to your Tuesday. Good news is, though, I don't think we end the day the same way we started out. We'll talk about when the sun should come out in just a few.
We begin with that breaking news out of Saratoga County this morning, where Mechanicville police tell us they're investigating after a man was found dead in a driveway of Grove Street overnight.
This home, we're going to show you exactly where it is. It's between Central Ave North and North Main Street. Melissa Lee is tracking this breaking story, joining us live at the scene. Melissa?
Julia, that's right. The coroner just arrived on scene within the last half hour or so, and Grove and William Streets are still blocked off this morning with police tape, as you can see. Now, behind me is where Mechanicville police say they found a man dead last night, but they haven't said whether the man was shot. Now, they did respond to calls of shots fired around 8:45, so this investigation going on more than 8 hours now. We got to the scene just before 4 o'clock this morning. We've already seen a handful of members from the forensic unit in and around this home that you're taking a look at right now. Mechanicville police say state police, Saratoga County deputies, along with Stillwater PD, are all helping with this investigation. Details still limited. However, be sure to stay with us both on air and online for the latest details. For now, reporting live, Melissa Lee, CBS 6 News.
Melissa, thanks. Taking a live look outside, the Freyhofer Sky Camera Network showing a little brighter shot of downtown Albany this morning. 61 degrees, a little bit warmer than we saw this time yesterday morning, but still not that oppressive humidity yet.
Yeah, not very August-like. Let's get a check on your forecast with meteorologist Craig Gold. He's in for Alyssa this morning. Hey, Craig.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, the dog days of August, certainly not the case, is it? Starting a little warmer this morning, like you said, Jack, because we're kind of insulated. We have these clouds overhead, and so that tends to keep the heat trapped on in. And so it kind of keeps things not too hot, not too cold. That's where we are this morning. Even some drizzle around this morning, too. The steadier rain is pushed offshore as this area low pressure continues to work away from the eastern seaboard, but still do have a little weak disturbance to roll through this afternoon. That may trigger off a couple of spotty showers, so we'll be watching for that. Temperatures this morning are mostly in the low to mid 60s across the valley locations, including the North Country back down through the capital region of the Mid-Hudson Valley. However, you go up to the Adirondacks, you go to the Berkshires, temperatures there are a little bit cooler in the 50s as one would expect. Cloudy around this morning, then we'll start to see the sun pop out by late this morning. I think by the time we get to early in the afternoon, there was at least a small window that we could see a few passing showers, maybe a rumble of thunder before we clear things out and dry things out later in the day, and we'll wind up topping out in the lower to middle 70s for a lot of spots, mid to upper 70s, though, I think, for Albany and surrounding areas. Still, that puts us off the mark as far as temperatures are concerned, but we'll warm up. I'll tell you when in the 7-day forecast in a few.
5:33 happening today in Schenectady. The 19-year-old man convicted of murdering a Schenectady high school student is finding out how long he'll be spending in prison. Back in June, a jury found Raekwon Stover guilty of shooting 17-year-old Medina Knowles in the head inside a Schenectady Street apartment last September. Stover, who was dating Knowles, turned himself in shortly after the shooting. The 44-year-old Schenectady man who accidentally shot himself in the leg while driving is heading to prison today for illegal possession of a handgun and crack cocaine. Edwin Ferrer was sentenced yesterday to 63 months behind bars. He was arrested in 2015 after investigators searched his car and found a pistol, 6 rounds of ammunition, and that crack cocaine.
2 Binghamton men will appear in court for a felony hearing today after authorities say they killed an 11-year-old girl during an attempted rape at their home. Police say 34-year-old Tobias Runstrom Woodling and 36-year-old James Brower are charged with first-degree murder. We're told police found Jason O'Connor dead inside their Norwich home on July 30th. Officers say she was smothered during an attempted rape. The pair's lawyers say they plan to fight this to the end. Today in Saratoga County, Commissioner Rose Harvey of the Office of Parks and Recreation is expected to unveil details and visuals surrounding a multi-million-dollar renovation of the Peerless Pool Complex. So the original pool complex, built in 1962, is in poor condition, officials say, and difficult to navigate. The announcement on those renovations will take place at the Peerless Pool at Saratoga Spa State Park at 10:15.
New information this morning. Ex-New York Senate leader Dean Skelos is asking an appeals court for a new trial, citing the precedent set when former Assembly Speaker Sheldon Silver was granted a new one. His attorney wrote in papers filed yesterday that Skelos, like Silver, is entitled to a new trial because public corruption laws were recently refined by the U.S. Supreme Court. Skelos was convicted in 2015 on extortion, bribery, and conspiracy charges. He was sentenced last year to 5 years in prison, but has remained free on appeal. 6 months into his first term, President Trump's overall approval rating stands at its lowest point in CNN polling. The numbers were just released overnight. Overall, 38% say they approve of the way the president's handling things. 56% say they disapprove. 24% of Americans say they trust all of what they hear from the White House. 30% say they trust nothing that they hear from the president's office. The poll was done by telephone among a random national sample of 1,000 adults.
Despite being on vacation, President Trump is still discussing North Korea with his Secretary of State as tensions between the North and the U.S. continue. A White House spokeswoman said late last night the president had an hour-long call with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and Chief of Staff John Kelly. She says they discussed the new sanctions on North Korea over its nuclear and ballistic missile programs. North Korea is reacting angrily to those sanctions, vowing to bolster its arsenal and mount revenge, quote, 1,000-fold against the United States. The remains of a man killed at the World Trade Center on 9/11 have now been identified nearly 16 years after the terror attacks. The New York City Medical Examiner's Office announced the finding yesterday. The agency is still working to match bone fragments to DNA of the thousands killed in the attack.
Just a reminder of a traffic alert in Schenectady this morning. Right now, there are some lane closures on Erie Boulevard near the roundabout that goes into the Rivers Casino. Work in the area has already caused a lot of backups. The city says the work is to repair sewer pipes. Construction started yesterday morning. It continues through Friday.
This week, representatives from the Hudson River Valley Greenway are inviting local leaders and residents to discuss the proposed Albany-Hudson Electric Trail. It's a 35-mile biking and pedestrian path that would run from Rensselaer to Hudson. 2 public meetings will be held to discuss the trail, that is. The first is tonight at 6 at the Columbia High School Auditorium. The second will be held this Thursday in the Ichabod Crane High School Auditorium, also at 6 o'clock.
5:37, Uber is getting to work enriching upstate New York communities less than 3 months after it was legalized here. It's announcing the spread of Project Jumpstart. Uber drivers can apply for grants of up to $30,000 to go to projects in their communities. These grants are issued quarterly and go towards projects in the categories of education and the arts, community development, and health and public safety. Drivers can apply for the grants through Uber's website, and we put a shortcut on our website to that. Just go to cbs6albany.com. It's under web links. Is this really pretty? It's the Empire State Building lit up purple last night in honor of National Purple Heart Day. The families of 7 dead U.S. servicemen gathered yesterday to receive lost Purple Heart medals that their loved ones had earned in 4 wars. The Vermont-based group Purple Hearts Reunited has made its mission to track down these misplaced medals.
A Google employee fired what he's accused of writing in a memo that made waves across the country.
And some wicked weather caught on camera. Look at these cars. We'll tell you where the National Weather Service says a tornado could have touched down.
All right, let me take you over to Schenectady in the flyover Skycam. As the sun officially comes up in 15 minutes, you will likely not see it, but won the day out a whole lot better than the way we started. But the question is, will we be able to keep that nice weather with us through much of the week? That answer coming up with the 7-day forecast when we come back.